Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from Red State dated June 9th. And we're going to go over for a few videos this week. I know I'm a little bit late on this, but only have certain times that I am able to record videos at the moment. So we get this a little bit late, but still interesting nonetheless. It says taxpayer-funded riots. Here's what we found when we followed the money in Los Angeles. And I haven't read, I shouldn't say I haven't read it. I've read a little bit or seen some of what's going to be in here, but I haven't read the whole thing, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless. So let's go through it. It says, when ICE conducted raids Friday morning at multiple locations in downtown Los Angeles, violent protesters impeded their work at both the staging location at a Home Depot in Paramount and outside the targeted business in downtown. Things might have stayed somewhat contained, but for the involvement of two powerful and high-profile leftist community leaders, in scare quotes. It says, one of these people, SEIU California President David Huerta, was arrested for interfering with federal officers after he got in the way of ICE officers. After his arrest, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, California Governor Gavin Newsom, Representative Gil Cisneros, and other Democrat elected officials decried the action. It says then Angelica Salas, Executive Director of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, or CHIRLA, held a press conference calling for broad demonstrations against ICE, and tensions and violence escalated from there. It says hundreds of protesters turned into thousands of rioters before long, complete with matching t-shirts and professionally printed signs, signaling the involvement of organizations with some degree of funding behind them. And Data Republican, as it's about to mention here, if you haven't followed this account on X, if you're not on X, you probably should at least look at this account, because this lady does, like, yeoman's work, I'm telling you. Like, this is a smart person that finds where all the money is. So it says, as Data Republican found, CHIRLA and the Party for Socialism and Liberation, or PSL Web, because of course it's commies, there are two of the NGOs implicated in this ongoing riot. Like I said, because of course it is. It says, CHIRLA and their friends at the Party for Socialism and Liberation, or PSL, are well-funded and well-connected, and have been astroturfing protests against Donald Trump and his belief in upholding our country's immigration laws for a decade now. I first encountered them, not me, of course, but the author of the article, outside the Lux Hotel. Is it still pronounced Lux even with the E at the end? But whatever. We'll just call it the Lux. So she said, I first encountered them outside the Lux Hotel on July 10th, 2015, when they organized a protest against Donald Trump when he spoke to the conservative Friends of Abe group just after announcing his candidacy. But guess whose YouTube channel has video from the event? And the Friends of Abe is like that Hollywood group of conservatives that you may have heard of before, that they kind of had to meet in secret just because, Hollywood's obviously not very friendly towards anyone that isn't very left-leaning. But anyway, so what was the question again here? It said, guess whose YouTube channel has video of the event? And it says, yep, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. It's funny that the party is called Socialism and Liberation, and socialism is anything but liberation. It's it's basically slavery. So funny that they say that. There's attorney Laura Powell, another pretty good follow on X as well, looked into CHIRLA's funding and made some startling findings. Yes, there's government money going into the org. That's not startling. What is startling is the amount. According to a financial audit submitted to the state of California for the fiscal year ending June 3rd, 2023, CHIRLA took in $34 million from various government contracts, and 96% of the government funding was from the state of California. So your tax dollars, people in California, are paying for the riots that are happening. How about that? It says that amount is nearly 3 times the prior year's government contract total. It says CHIRLA's total revenue for the year ending June 30th, 2023 was $45 million, meaning that 75.5% of its revenue came from government contracts. Seems a little fishy. It says agencies contributing to CHIRLA's funding during this period included the California Department of Social Services, the California Arts Council, the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, and the Department of Homeland Security. So DHS, they probably even know it. So... so again, your tax dollars are funding this. How about that? It says, yes, the Department of Homeland Security. Mayor Bass secured that contract for CHIRLA from her old pal and Beverly Hills high school grad Alejandro Mayorkas, who, can we still impeach the guy or something? Can he be thrown in prison? Because, man, that dude, God, he screwed things up so bad, it's not even funny. So it says, Powell wrote, it says, for her part, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has defiantly opposed federal immigration enforcement in the city, stating on social media Friday, "We will not stand for this, and no vamos a permitir estas acciones." And pardon my Spanish accent, I wasn't ready to read that, and I probably can't do a Spanish accent anyway. And what that means is we are not going to permit these actions. It kind of makes sense given the words that I read there. So she added that her office would collaborate with community-based organizations that serve immigrants. She has a long relationship with Churla and bragged last year about obtaining federal funding for Churla's programs. That grant is part of a broader stream of public dollars that the organization receives from government sources. It says in announcing that $450,000 federal grant on August 30th, 2024, Bass said, "The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, Clinica Romero, and the Central American Resource Center have been on the front lines providing assistance to new immigrant arrivals in our city. I want to thank Secretary Mayorkas and the Department of Homeland Security for their partnership and for providing these organizations in the LA region with support to provide life-saving assistance." And I do want to mention, too, that I am going to have a video coming up in the next few days from the time you're listening to this about Karen Bass's background. And just so you know what it is if you don't already know, and it's not... it's bad. Let's just say that. There was $100,000 remaining on the grant when Donald Trump again took office. DHS froze the funding. Churla sued. Then DHS canceled the contract and the lawsuit was dropped. So what were they doing with that money? Well, their efforts are centered in their newly opened Immigrant Welcome and Empowerment Center in downtown Los Angeles, which Bass toured in May 2024. And here's an embedded tweet from Jennifer Van Laar. She is the author of this article and an investigative journalist. And she's the one that kind of... I can't remember what her claim to fame was, but she found something. There was something with Gavin Newsom or something in California, because that's where she's based. That was like a high-profile sort of thing. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm being very vague, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But here you go. And it says, from Karen Bass, it says, "What does this mean for Karen Bass? What is Churla doing at that center to advance justice and full inclusion for all immigrants?" as it's underlined here. So... should tell us. Says, according to their website, their core leadership development activities are Wise Up. This is a youth leadership development program mentoring high school students in 15 Los Angeles schools. There's a California Dream Network. It says mobilizing college students in 30 California colleges and universities around immigration reform, boasts 5,000 veteran leaders, and is already sounding very much like communist front groups. And again, if you know anything about Karen Bass, you'll know how entwined she is with communism. And again, like I said, it's not good. Then the third bullet here says Contamos Contigo Consensus Campaign. That is a tongue twister. It says disaster assistance for immigrants. It says to distribute COVID-19 aid. And organizing low-wage workers, including day laborers, street vendors, and domestic workers who do not reap the benefits of labor laws. Then Rapid Response Network focuses on advocacy, direct action to shut down detention centers, and connecting immigrants facing detention and deportation to legal representation. Says basically our taxpayer dollars are going to train high school and college kids in how to break immigration law and become Marxist agitators, as I was saying, to ensure illegal aliens are counted in the U.S. Census, to organize illegal aliens already in the country, and to fund their legal representation against deportation. And this is why Democrats are trying to stop what's going on with ICE raids and everything. That first part there, it says to ensure illegal aliens are counted in the U.S. Census. Because if you've seen something, like stuff out there already, that California is overrepresented in Congress. I mean, they're still going to have the most seats, but they're overrepresented because illegal aliens are counted in the census. So that's a problem. So those seats should be elsewhere. So it says, and that's just their leadership development section. They also have a filmmaking section, an affiliate organization in Mexico, the Churla Action Fund, through which they can endorse political candidates and more. It says, Powell concludes her ex-post by saying, to sum up how this works, your tax dollars fund an organization that organizes efforts to directly interfere with the federal government's lawful exercise of authority. Then, through its lobbying arm, that organization helps Democrats get elected to office, who then repay the favor by ensuring increased funding. So it's a big circle jerk. So this case in point, Karen Bass. So Karen Bass, right here in her embedded tweet, or Jennifer Van Laar's embedded tweet, and she has Karen Bass's tweet copied there. And so she's thanking Churla and everything. So it says, you can read Churla Action Fund's 2024 voter guide here. There's a link there if you want to see it. And the article is linked in the description below and says there won't be any surprises. And it finally ends with, this is just the beginning of our investigation into Churla and PSL's involvement in the ongoing riots. We'll publish those results as we go. So, as they say, you always follow the money because it will tell you exactly who is doing what. So, that is the start of this. And if any other update comes out about this, I will probably do a video on it as well, because I think it's important that people know where their tax dollars are going and who's using it to do what. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.